Welcome to Tech Notice. If you've just built yourself a PC and you're thinking that was the easy part, perhaps now comes the hard part of installing Windows, BIOS, optimizing drivers. How is that gonna work? Well, actually, this is the video for you, and I'm gonna make it all simple. Once you've built your PC, the hardware's together, you may have some lights in there. What's gonna happen now? I'm gonna show you exactly what to do in this video. This is the second part of this video series. In the first part, we did build the PC, and I walked you through every single part of it, but now we're actually gonna be completing the build, but also optimizing the PC for Intel Core Ultra platform. So if that's what you want to do, perhaps you've already built your PC, we can now optimize and get even more performance out, or make sure that you have the most stable and best performance as a creator. So let's dive right in. It's so annoying. I don't want to pay hundreds of dollars to just change my Windows wallpaper just because my Windows isn't licensed. Well, why don't you try Hookeys? That's a ton cheaper, and if you use the code TN20, you get it even cheaper. What do you mean? How do I get it, and how is it possible? Well, see this video here, or the one you're watching? Click in the link on the video description, add the Windows 11 CD product to the cart, proceed to checkout, add the code TN20 for the extra discount. So what, the Windows 11 Pro OEM key is just $23.22? Yeah. Choose the preferred payment option and complete the purchase. The key will be available on the purchased orders in a few moments. Copy the key and paste it into your Windows activation settings, and you're all done. Oh, that was easy. Is that Ryan Gosling? No. Anyway, by the way, the same discount code also works website-wide, so go check out other products, maybe like Microsoft Office. So what's some of the things that you need? Make sure that you've got a keyboard and the keyboard's plugged in if you've got the wireless dongle, like this one there. If you've got a Bluetooth keyboard, it's probably not gonna work as well, but make sure that that's plugged in, and the same with your mouse. Make sure that your wireless receiver for the mouse is plugged in. Bluetooth is not really recommended at this point. You wanna either plug it in via the wireless charger, or if you've got a USB-C port in the back, plug them in just with cable so that they're connected to your computer. The next thing that you need is a Windows install USB disk. Now, this is completely free to do. It will take you maybe 10-15 minutes to do if you don't know how to do that. I've got a video on the channel, so just follow that and you can make one of these USB sticks for you. You just need a spare USB stick. That's all you need. Boom, you can make one of these install sticks. And next thing what you need is another USB stick, which I've got this tiny one over here. And that's what we're going to be using to update the BIOS and get some of the drivers and so on. The PC is built. Now what you want to do is hit the power button and the PC turns on. Let's see what happens now. There's a few lights going on the screen. It might drain a little bit of your RAM, or check that all the parts are together. Then you can see something like that. And then is it going to go to BIOS? Boom. Okay, we're in BIOS. Now, the reason why we didn't see Windows or anything else in here is because we don't have Windows installed. We've got all the parts installed, but Windows is not actually installed. One of the first things that we're actually going to do is sort the BIOS out first. BIOS is basically the subsystem on the motherboard that makes sure that all the components that have been connected onto the motherboard. So if you see around here, we can see that our Samsung SSD here is installed. We can see that we've got RAM installed. So these are the two sticks in there. You can see them on the screen in there. So we can see that everything is there, but the motherboard BIOS system is just making all of these work together. And then we're going to tell it to install Windows onto which drive and so on. So we need to actually check if there is a newer version of the BIOS available. Now, information about this motherboard, we can see that it's ProArt Z890 Creative Wi-Fi and BIOS version is 1401. Now remember that number. Now use this USB stick and we're going to plug it into your PC or Mac or laptop or whatever. And I'm now connected to another computer. So this is my Mac that's actually plugged in. And we type in the name of the motherboard. Asus ProArt Z890, that'll do. We find the motherboard manufacturer's name or the actual page for this motherboard. Now, if you've got a different motherboard, obviously follow their website, but it will work exactly the same. We're gonna go under the support tab, and that's the same whether you're running Gigabyte, MSI, ASRock, whatever. Under the support tab, we go to drivers and tools. And then under drivers and tools, we click on BIOS and firmware. So as you can see, the latest BIOS here is 1603 at the time of me making the video. When you're watching this, it might be a newer version, or when you're watching this, your BIOS that we just checked was actually earlier. So the first thing what we want to do is have the latest BIOS available there. As you can see, we can see some microcode update and other things in there, initializations and all of these things. What we're going to do is we're just going to download this. That went onto our downloads folder there. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to go to that USB stick that I had plugged in. As you can see, it's called No Name, and I'm going to just paste that zip file onto there. Now, in different motherboards, you might have to unzip it and then take just the actual file onto there. But with Asus motherboards, we can just put the zip file in there, and all the things that are in there inside the zip file, because that's a compressed file. There's the microcode and firmware update tools in there, and then the actual BIOS. Once that's in there, you can unplug it. And now we're back into the BIOS. We just plug this in the back of the PC, anywhere you want. And then what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna press advanced mode, or F7. Then I'm gonna navigate under the tool, as you can see in there, Asus Easy Flash, press enter. And then on the side here, we can see that the storage devices, I do have this one plugged in, and we can see the folders and all of these things. Some of these things are trash. Just press this file there. Well, as you can see, that was our zip file. 1603 zip ProArt, and you can see that the file size is actually big as well. So I'm going to click on that. It says make sure that recovery key and backup and everything is there. I'm just going to press yes. Do you want to read this file? I'm going to press yes again. So as you can see, it says we're about to update the BIOS. Please ensure that the ME version of your motherboard is up to date to the corresponding version, blah, 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 blah. It's going to do that. Or you can see that the BIOS version is 1603 and the previous version was 1401, as you can see above there. So we just press yes. It's probably going to restart your PC a few times, so let it just do its thing. You know when it's completed when you're back into the BIOS homepage, and you can see that your BIOS firmware has been updated. Your BIOS is up to date. So as you can see, it's updating the microcode firmware first, because we already had that file inside the zip file as well. So often what happens is there is a microcode and BIOS update all together. So Intel has their update for their CPU firmware type of thing, and then you have the BIOS update so that they can talk to each other, but they need to be updated at the same time, because if you have different versions of them, it can be a little bit complicated. But that's why it's easy to do it on a zip file, because everything's in there. Whatever Asus gives you, just open the zip file and the motherboard knows what to do with the zip file, and voila, as you can see, it does everything for you. As you can see now, it says BIOS has been updated. Press F1. So we're going to press F1 and we are in BIOS. So if you look at the BIOS version now, we are 1603, which is very, very good news. What is the next thing that we do in BIOS? In my opinion, I'd like to get to the BIOS sorted straight away, so we don't have to come back to the BIOS and figure out what's going on. So we're going to press F7 to go to the advanced menu. And here's what we're going to do: a few optimizations to get the best performance for your PC. Firstly, one of the main thing is performance preferences. It says Intel default settings. Right now, it is the Intel settings I've set to performance. Because we have the i9 285K, we have also extreme option available, which is a little bit of a higher performance option. And I want the best option for most performance. I'm just going to go to extreme. Now, be very careful that you're not going to select the Intel default settings to Asus Advanced OC Profile, because when you go to that Asus Advanced OC Profile, now we're changing the power settings from what Intel recommends to what the motherboard thinks it can do, because the motherboard thinks, hey, this is a good CPU. Let's pull as much juice out of it as possible. In one sense, this is good because you get more performance, but in another sense, you're going to lose a little bit of stability, and it's called overclocking because it's out of Intel's factory specifications. Now, can you get more performance? Yes. Will it actually matter for creators? Not really. If you're doing photo, video, and not a very CPU heavy task, then you're not going to notice a difference. It's going to pull a lot more power if it's going to be warmer. It's probably going to be a bit more unstable. So I don't recommend doing that. So I want to stick with the best optimized settings, which is Intel default. We're going to press extreme. Next, we're going to go with the AI overclock tuner. That is basically the RAM XMP settings here. So the RAM in there comes with certain settings, but you have to apply these settings. Otherwise, it's going to run at its basic speed, and that's not going to be great. So I'm going to press XMP tweaked. So basically what XMP tweaked means is ASUS has already tested a lot of these RAM kits, you know, in their factory with the motherboard and with the CPUs, and they know that certain RAM, they can tweak the settings to make them more stable and better performance, if that makes sense. So what I have found is sometimes I'm loading the RAM or DIMM's default settings and it's not as stable as what ASUS has tested, because ASUS has tested them with the motherboard. They've made sure that, you know, it's compatible and all the settings are the best. So XMP tweak is the best option that I think you can go with when using RAM. Sometimes I couldn't get the XMP 1 or 2 actually working, but XMP tweaked work because ASUS has actually tried it before. Then under the AI overclock, we're gonna go further back down here, and the XMP here, actual speed, we can change it from 6400, 6000 to 4800. We're going to leave it at 6400 because that is the IMC spec for the CPU as well. That's all good. If you have lower speed or faster speed of RAM, you might want to change the DRAM frequency, which is further down here. If you think that your PC is actually unstable, then you can go further down there and lower the speed, but 6400 is good for us right now. So we know that XMP, we've done the power settings and our RAM, that's all good. The last thing that you might want to do is if we go back to F7 and we go to the easy mode, you want to go to Q fan control. And now in here, you can actually tune the fan speeds of your PC to make sure that you've got the best optimization and the best performance, but at the same time, the best noise. This can be a little bit of a big process. So in order to make this video a bit shorter, I'm going to skip this process because I've done a separate video on the channel. So go check out that one where I'm going to go more in detail about my philosophy, how I can get the best performance and the quietest performance of my PC, while at the same time making sure that the PC is as dust-free as possible. So you can all optimize it in there, and this is the part where I would do that now. So I'm just going to do that sped forward. I'm not going to explain what I'm doing. Go check out the other video, but I'll just make sure that this is done for us now. So once your CPU fan curves are done, now what we do is take the Windows install USB stick. We're going to pull out the BIOS stick in the back. Windows install stick is on, and now we're going to press F10. And F10 means now we've saved all the settings what we've done in BIOS, and we're just going to press OK back in BIOS. But now because we've got the Windows key installed in there and it's loading the installation, voila, we can start it. So language and everything here, we're just going to press next. Make sure that this is where, you know, you're located, your region. We're going to press install now. In terms of the activation settings, just press I don't have a product key for now, and we're going to press 11 Pro for our Windows. Why go for something less than this? Yes, I accept because there's no other way. We're going to press customized install, and you can see that because for us only one SSD was installed, there it is. We're going to just select that. It's already selected. We're going to just press next, and it already starts to copy all of the files of the Windows onto that SSD. Once the files are copied onto the Windows, we actually need to set it up there as well. The Windows setup process, there are a few tricks that I would recommend you to do. Now is the Windows actual setup. Windows is installed. You can remove the Windows installs a USB on the back. And then now one of the first things you do when you hit this is go Control Shift F10. Shift F10, which brings out this command. And then what we want to type in is OOBE / bypass NRO. And then we're going to press enter. Basically what this does is tells the Windows setup process this command that we can skip the internet connection, and that is good because now we don't have to make Microsoft account to actually install Windows. We can make local account because I don't want to give my details to Microsoft and just all, why do I have to sign up an account with you? Now we can do a local account. So we're not going to be connecting this PC to the internet, but just setting it up locally. You can connect it later and I'll show you how. So as you can see, we're here again. We just choose our region, then your keyboard layout. Make sure that you follow that. Otherwise, you might find it difficult to do. Do you want secondary keyboard layout? No, we're going to press skip. And then now let's connect you to the network. Now I can press I don't have internet. Continue with limited setup. We're going to type in Z890 Pro Art for this PC. Press next. Set up a password. Security question. Everything here is no. No, don't want anything. Required only. as little information to Microsoft as possible. Would you look at that? We are in Windows, and then now you can connect yourself to the internet if it allows you to. But looking at me, as you can see, it can't find the wireless network driver because the Windows install stick didn't have them already installed there, because this is quite an old Windows 11 install stick that you might, have the same situation. So now, if that is the case, we need the Wi-Fi driver. So if we go back to our website there of our motherboard, and then now we're under the drivers and tools section, wireless, as you can see, Wi-Fi, we just download that, just copy what we just downloaded, paste it onto our USB that we used previously. I'm gonna unzip it there as well. It is a slow USB stick. If you've got something faster, it's probably gonna happen faster for you. I'm gonna take that USB stick and put it onto our PC now. Once we're on our PC, we go to my computer, USB drive. As you can see, there's our file, and we just press ASUS setup there, double click, yes, we just want to install it. And then now, because we installed it, as you can see, Wi-Fi is available, so connect yourself to the internet. Okay, once we are connected, the ASUS driver hub, because I said yes, I recommend installing this, accept. Microsoft Edge is doing this. One of the first things that I want to do is download Chrome, because if you've got Chrome set or like saved settings in there, you can log in and kind of continue all your browsing on this. I believe on the Edge you can do the same, but I'm used to Chrome, so I prefer that. One of the first things I'll do is install Chrome and then sign in. I always set it as default as well. Right click, pin to taskbar, and then I'm gonna take this Edge off so it's not gonna go there. Another one of the first things that I like to do is go Control Shift Escape, which brings us up Task Manager. Then we're gonna go to this like Start Up tab, and I'm gonna untick certain things. I don't want OneDrive to start when I'm starting the Windows, and the Edge as well, disabled. I don't like that. Next thing, I'm gonna go hit this, and then we're gonna set up pin, sign in. Wait, we'll go back here because a Chrome default app came up. So I'm gonna just set this as a default. So Chrome is gonna be the default browser for everything. And then I'll just type in again, set up pin. Just because it's probably gonna restart multiple times, put in your password, and now you can set in a pin here. That makes the sign in a little bit faster when we need to restart multiple times. Once that's done, hit Option key and then type in update. Check for updates, and your Windows is gonna now do a whole lot of updates, most likely. It's gonna find a bunch of updates here. As you can see, it's downloading and installing lots of them. Let it download and install everything in there, and then we'll move on to the next step. But this might take a little while. So now then, it's taken a little while for the Windows updates to complete. So basically, once it's done it, check for updates again, and then you might find some new updates. I know that there should be actually more updates because the version of Windows I have is 23H2, but there is 24H2 as well. I'll probably see some more later on in here, but in essence, our Windows is installed and is working. The next step now is the drivers. What are the drivers? The drivers are basically all the different components inside our PC. They need to have kind of instructions for the motherboard. Okay, we've got this component here. This is how we're going to link it together. Think of this just like a bridge to connect to the main kind of a city or whatever. Like you have a city, you've got all these roads, but they lead somewhere in there. If you haven't got a road connected to a certain block or area in the city, you can't talk to them. Data can't travel between them. So that's what we have to do now over the software. Most of it is already working, and in essence, you could kind of start using the PC. But what we want to do is, as creators, we want to make sure that all of our components have the latest firmware and latest drivers, so that when we install our software, there's going to be no hiccups or anything. It sounds a little bit complicated, but honestly, it isn't. So with our ASUS motherboard, we already have this ASUS driver hub. So we just double click, open that. It opens a browser tab. And this is like a new thing that ASUS is doing. So we're going to try to do that. So basically it's scanning our system to see if there's any drivers that we can update. As you can see, there are 18 drivers available. So there's our chipset driver, dynamic tuning driver. So this is the NPU driver and all sorts of these drivers that you can see. The annoying thing is that in here, I can't choose whether I want to install drivers and software. For example, this software here, I don't really want all of this installed. So what you can do is one by one kind of install and update these with this software. But because we need to install this Armory creator anyway to control our RGB later, I'm gonna install this software because inside that software, it's a little bit more straightforward to actually just get all the drivers installed. Just Armory creator is fine. We just install that. Now, the cool thing is while this is being installed, we can do some other things as well and get other bits installed. We go NVIDIA drivers, official drivers. And if we go to Task Manager, it probably has already a driver. So we can, no, it doesn't. As you can see, our GPU is only the iGPU. There is no dedicated GPU driver. So we're gonna go GeForce, RTX 50 series, not D, but 90, Windows 11, English US, that will do. Searching for drivers. In there, there's all drivers, game-ready drivers, but what I want is the studio drivers. Okay, while this is coming back on the Armory crate, we just agree for it to start using it. Then probably it's gonna do some other bits here. Okay. Installing some more. What we'll do is we'll just view that driver here, the studio driver. Just make sure that you've got the latest state with it, and then we just download it and it starts downloading. The next thing what I want to do is, because it's an Intel system, so download something called Intel Driver Support Assistant. If you're on an AMD system, obviously that doesn't work, so that's why this is optimization for this Intel platform. Okay, so Intel Driver and Support Assistant, we just install that, and you can also install the graphics driver. So that installation was complete. You can launch it as well. So you can see there's different drivers available. So I just press download all. So all the Intel drivers for our Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and then the graphics in the middle there as well. So we'll start installing the Bluetooth one. Yes, we do want to update the driver. Next, next, agree to the terms, next. And I always press typical installation, install, let that do that. We'll go back to the graphics driver, NVIDIA graphics driver. I don't want the NVIDIA app, and we're gonna go custom. We'll press next. Now make sure that this is perform a clean install, because you might have some drivers already installed with Windows. Sometimes some drivers come installed, but because I don't want anything, so let this be there, and then install that. Going back to the Intel, as you can see, that was finished. It's the Armory crate, that's still installing stuff. Available updates, as you can see, the GPU can be installed, but we're just gonna we're not gonna do Wi-Fi because we might be downloading stuff in there. So I'll just install the GPU there. As you can see, graphics driver, begin installation. Here's again a few things that I recommend doing. So now whenever it says, okay, we're gonna install all of this, say no. We're gonna go customize, and I don't want any of the softwares or anything else, developing program. Execute clean installation as well, and make sure that only Intel graphics driver installed. As much as I can, I don't want any other software running on my computer. I just want it to be as minimal as possible. So NVIDIA GPU is installing a driver, and then our Intel is installing a driver. So you're saying, how is there two GPUs? Well, the CPU that we have inside there is a little integrated graphics that also needs a driver, and that is a very good thing when you're video editing. But for us, because we have the dedicated GPU, we actually might not necessarily need it, because the 50 series is very good at video editing. In fact, often a lot better. Okay, NVIDIA GPU is installed. Just close that window. You don't need to do a restart after that. Most likely Intel will like a restart. Armory crate is still installing. Okay, while this is going there, we're gonna download some software to also test that everything's working properly later on. So one of them is Hardware Info 64 download. There it is. Let's get that installed. What this does is this basically reads all the sensors on our PC and wattages and temperatures and so on. So we can actually see if everything's working correctly, if something's overheating, or if we're not getting exactly the right wattage through or something like that. We're just gonna go sensors only, and then press start. Do not show this again, and continue. Now, I'm going to pin this to the taskbar as well, so I can see that in here. So while we're doing other things, we'll just leave that open on the side here so we can see exactly what's happening. We can see the CPU, you know, how much wattage we're doing there. CPU package, look at that. We've pulled 13 watts minimum, sometimes really, really efficient. So as we can see, Intel wants a reboot, but we're not going to do that. We just click finish because we want the Armory crate to, okay, reopen the app, and then that's going to be completed. Okay, let that open. Now, another thing that we want to download is Trikes Panorama Canali. So if you're doing exactly this PC build, what we have here is this actual screen on the CPU cooler. There we can change a lot of the things, but we need the software to talk about that. So I'm just gonna be downloading this Canali there. And then the one last thing is Zotac RTX 5090 solid software, Firestorm utility. So we need to, oh no, it's Spectra. Would you look at that? It's kind of frozen me. So let's do a restart by pressing down on the power button, and it does shut it down. And we're just gonna press cancel because something froze, but we're back. As you can see, this has changed a lot, which is interesting. Devices, we're gonna go to the ProArt Creative Wi-Fi. We're gonna update, then we go to Update Center. Hopefully we can download some stuff. Oh, that's weird. Every time I go to this page, it freezes. Please don't shut down. We're just gonna press cancel. There might be some graphics things that we might need to restart before moving onto it. So let me just restart the PC because there was a lot of drivers that we already installed. So let it restart, and then everything gets sorted there, and then kind of like the updates get nailed in. The thing is, did you know that whenever you're turning the PC down, it doesn't actually turn the system on? If you actually want to restart the whole system, you have to do a restart. Turning it down doesn't actually work. It just puts it to sleep. Whenever you want to wipe some cache or something's not working, then do a restart. So whenever someone says try turning it on and off again, it's not actually as good as trying to restart it, because restarting it is better. Okay, we're back in here. Let's try to open Chrome. Let's see if we freeze now here. Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. That's weird as. Our Chrome is got something weird going on there. I don't know why it's freezing. Let's get everything else installed and then see what happens. I think it's the Zotac page that kept freezing because I quickly closed that before it was able to load it. And then now, look, we're fine. Okay, let's install the Wi-Fi driver there as well and open Armory Create. You go to ProArt there, update now. Okay, we're gonna check the updates, check all the components here, motherboard, fan expert, ProArt mouse. Okay, we're gonna device and components. We're gonna just update all. While it's doing that, we install the Wi-Fi update as well. Wi-Fi turns off for a second. Installation complete. Okay, download is complete, but is it gonna update as well? Or? Okay, while that is downloading, whatever it's doing, we'll go to our downloads and extract the Canali software. Open the hardware info as well. It's updating my, open that software. I have read and agreed. Desktop shortcut, start Windows. Yeah, go on then. Okay, we just update this there as well. Okay, once you've got the Canali software open, I'm just going to pin that on the bottom here as well. See, notice that Panorama is installed. And whenever you have this software installed, the fan in there goes quiet. As you can hear, it's so quiet now, which is really nice. So you can play around here and then have different things installed here. I quite like this space theme there. Just gonna X that. Gonna launch Armory Create. We're gonna go back to Update Center for our ProArt motherboard. Okay, disk info. Oh, you can get a better direction of your Wi-Fi antenna. They've changed it here now. This is new for me as well. Change the fan mode. We'll go to motherboard settings. Because we want to control the RGB of those RAM sticks, because I don't really like them going like that. Here now on Task Manager, we can see our CPUs there. Memory is 6400, 96 gigabytes, Intel iGPU, NVIDIA RTX 5090. That's all good. You can see our power limits here have been set 295 and 250. So with the playground, yes, Aura Sync, that's what we need. So we did need the Aura Sync to actually be installed there as well. So Aura Effects, I'm going to put this as static. And the color I would like for my RAM is a little bit towards orangey, something like that. We just press OK. Our GPU is already there as well. Extract Zotac's option there as well. Because I've used this GPU on a different system before, it actually has got this RGB configuration already kind of saved onto the GPU, even though all Windows was wiped. So we'll just go and open the Firestorm app. So now we go here with the Spectra, and that's the RGB. And here you can change the RGB on all of this and get lots of other things working there as well. But because for me, it is already happy working there. So as you can see, if I go to there, I can change the color, but I want it to be something like that. Now, what I'm gonna do now is, because we have actually installed quite a lot of things, I'm gonna go open the Asus driver hub one more time to see if there's anything else that needs to be updated. Intel chipset driver, we're gonna install that, that's important. Intel dynamic tuning driver, let's install that. Neural acceleration driver, yes. Intel LAMP driver, yes. NPU driver, no monitoring technology driver, IO, let's install that. Management engine interface, install that. Marvel LAN, install that. HC audio, install that as well. Let's wait for it to do its thing. Setting this part up on the PC is just a whole lot of waiting. That's why I like to do a lot of things at the same time. So things are happening, we're installing things. While we're here, why don't we download some programs? Creative Cloud. Download Cinebench. Install Creative Cloud. Okay, installation completed. We're gonna restart later. Gonna download Creative Cloud. Let's restart. So let's say see Asus driver hub if there's anything there. Okay, no drivers available. Software, yeah, there are stuff, but drivers are all up to date. So now, basically at this point, we have completed all of the driver setup, and there's the last part to do, which is to test to see if everything is working properly. Here's how I would do it. So then, one of the things what I would do is obviously get all your Creative Cloud installed if you're a creator. And then what I would download is Puget Bench. A lot of people think that Puget Bench is just like a very synthetic benchmark that doesn't do anything. Actually, this is one of my favorite and one of the best real world benchmarks that you can do, because basically what this does is it breaks down your video editing in Adobe Creative Clouds, whether Photoshop, Premiere Pro, After Effects and so on, and test every single like little part of it separately. How good is the hardware in doing that? And you can compare the results online if you see browse results, which I've opened in a new tab. I'll see you these in a minute. Right now I'm downloading this for Windows, and then you can see the, we'll say, compare results Premiere Pro. Oh, this is interesting. The CPU 1, go Core Ultra 285K, and then CPU 2, let's say we're gonna check, okay, 9950X. This is interesting. Similar hardware, one over the other. Average is somewhere in between here. That's very interesting that they do that. So you can't see individual scores, but it, there we go. It's like individual scores uploaded as well. So you can actually test and see what's happening there, like what the GPU is there that has been added. So in some ways this is good because, I mean, this is new. I haven't seen that either before. We're gonna test it in a minute and see if we're gonna score somewhere roughly around there. So Core Ultra 9 285K, something like that there. Still installing some stuff, so we'll let that do that. Then while it's doing that, what I want to check here is the Cinebench that we downloaded. I'm going to open that. I've restarted it one more time to see if there was anything weird happening. Another thing that you can try, if you go to Windows Store, this is just cool little tips I can give you as well. Download Cinebench here as well. So this is Cinebench R23. This is not the latest one, but it basically does the same thing, different scoring systems. Another thing that you might want to install is Quick. And basically what this does is when you've got H.265 media on the PC, then you probably know that there's no way of playing it back. But if you install Quick Look, just with the click of a spacebar, you can view the footage basically like on map. When you hit the spacebar, it just looks back stuff. So I'll make sure that that is opened as well. Cinebench there, downloaded. I'm just going to pin that on the taskbar. Okay, while it's downloading these things on Puget systems over there, I'm just going to do a test here on multi-core here. And then we'll go on this and let's see how much we're pulling. 216 watts, 224. As you can see, CPU package 77 degrees, completely fine. 242, 76 degrees. We're cooling the CPU down very, very well. That Cinebench is still cutting, but we pulled 242 watts. This seems very, very fine to me. Obviously, it's doing other things in the background. Let's see if we pull more now. 37,000 points. That's really good. If you don't know how much you should be getting, just Google the points and the CPU have and what you're getting online. This is very good for me. And if you look at the temperatures, that's all fine. Are we thermally throttling? Absolutely not. So you can see thermal throttling. This is all no there. Maximum went to 80 degrees, something there. One of the cores. somewhere it was 80 degrees. Yeah, P core somewhere over there. Another thing that you might want to test is firmware. So this is a GPU synthetic test. Go for this. Okay, we're just gonna run that. And now when we go down here, we can see if our GPU is working well. Okay, we're pulling 575 watts. All looks good to me. 525 frames per second on 1080p. The temperature seemed fine. What you can do is leave this on for a while, like maybe 10-15 minutes. See if it's gone extremely high, the GPU temperature. If you're under 80 degrees, you're completely fine. So this seems all right to me here. Right now, that seems fine. I know it's doing that stuff in the background, extracting the Cinebench, but we're gonna run this benchmark on Premiere Pro. Let's see what happens. So as you can see, what it's doing now is, it's initializing. Oh, now Cinebench is starting to work. As you can see, Cinebench R24 still not supporting the GPU. That is the 50 series. Now Premiere Pro is running the test, so I'll let it do its thing and then we'll see the results. It takes only a couple of minutes, especially with this hardware, if you're doing the Bench Premiere Pro standard test. Wow, that was fast. So our result was 15,801. And let's take a look at the average results in here. Standard, the average is 15,086 and we are 15,801. So we are above the average, which means that it is, you know, very, very good. So as you can see, our PC is working great. Let's test this as well here. Cinebench now, single test. And if we take this open as well, just to see how the CPU is going here. This is R23 now, 230, and kind of hovers there, 220. Interestingly, it's not pushing it towards the 250, which is the static limit. So it seems to get the same performance at lower wattage, which is very interesting, and it never goes to 295. PC is going absolutely fine. Like these temperatures now at 223 watts, there's 27 degrees ambient here. Okay, CPU is pulling 230 watts now. We're roughly about 80 degrees on our CPU. Really, really good. Final score 2452. So you're wondering, is that any good? What you can do is go YouTube, TechNotice 285K review. Okay. Core Ultra 9950X versus 285K, or this one here. And then we'll look at here, where is Cinebench R23 here. Looking at the 285K 2506. And right now we got 2452, so only 50 points less. We had lots of things happening in the background. We were monitoring things at the same time. So that to me is working absolutely fine. We have completed every single step of this PC setup. In the first part of the video, we built the hardware. On the second part of the video, we set up the BIOS, optimized it all for the best performance. We then installed the Windows. We then installed the drivers, and then we tested the PC. And now basically just install all your programs and then you're off to go. If you found this helpful, go check out all the PC parts in the video description below. If you don't know how to build it, you now know. Figure out which parts to build. There's PC build guides in terms of what parts to buy in the video description below. If you have any other questions, reach out to me on Minnect. Thanks for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.